The electric vehicle revolution was supposed to be here by now. Instead, 14 specific models are hemorrhaging money, losing massive depreciation value, and disappearing from dealer lots for all the wrong reasons. While Tesla dominates headlines, these forgotten failures are costing unsuspecting buyers tens of thousands in lost value. Some are discontinued entirely, others are clinging to life with desperate price cuts, and a few have already filed for bankruptcy. If you own one of these vehicles, your investment is evaporating faster than their battery ranges in winter. Fisker Ocean. The Fisker Ocean looked like the future when it debuted, with sleek lines and an innovative solar roof that promised to extend your driving range. Early buyers paid between $61,499 and $70,000 for what seemed like a Tesla competitor with European styling. Those same buyers now own vehicles worth essentially nothing after the company filed for bankruptcy in June 2024, leaving roughly 10,000 owners completely stranded without support. Henrik Fisker's second automotive venture collapsed faster than his first, and the warning signs were everywhere for anyone paying attention. Internal documents revealed the company was bleeding cash while struggling to build a reliable supply chain for basic parts like wiring harnesses. When production paused in March 2024, dealer reports showed customers were already waiting months for simple repairs because Fisker had failed to stockpile spare parts or establish proper service networks. The bankruptcy filing turned these luxury electric SUVs into expensive paperweights overnight. Owners lost all warranty coverage, software update support, and connected services like remote climate control and charging monitoring. The Fisker app still works for now, but no one knows when those servers will shut down permanently. Even worse, the company had no money budgeted for ongoing software fixes or recall repairs, meaning safety issues could go unaddressed indefinitely. The final insult came when American Lease bought the remaining 3,231 unsold Oceans in bulk for just $46.3 million total. That works out to roughly $14,300 per vehicle for cars that originally carried $60,000 plus price tags. Meanwhile, existing owners watched their investments evaporate as used Ocean values crashed to practically zero since no one wants to buy a vehicle from a bankrupt company with no parts or service support available anywhere. Mazda MX-30. When Mazda launched the MX-30 electric crossover with a starting price of $34,110, buyers expected at least basic electric vehicle capabilities. Instead, they got a vehicle with barely 100 miles of real-world range that couldn't even handle a typical daily commute without charging anxiety. The financial damage became clear when Mazda sold only 66 units in the entire United States during 2023, making it one of the worst-selling vehicles in American automotive history. The range limitation wasn't just embarrassing, it was practically unusable for most buyers who discovered their $35,000 investment couldn't reliably travel between major cities in California, the only state where Mazda bothered selling this disaster. Dealer reports showed customers returning vehicles after realizing the advertised range dropped significantly in real-world conditions, especially during California's hot summers when air conditioning became essential for survival. Mazda's executives tried defending the limited range by claiming it matched most people's daily driving patterns, but internal sales data told a different story. The company had promised a rotary range extender version would arrive to solve the range problem, but that model never materialized in the American market, leaving early buyers stuck with their golf cart range electric vehicles. Even worse, Mazda quietly discontinued the entire MX-30 lineup for the 2024 model year, abandoning existing owners without any long-term support strategy. The depreciation hit early buyers like a financial sledgehammer, with used MX-30 models selling for less than $20,000 within just 2 years of purchase. Smart buyers who waited saw Mazda's obvious retreat from the electric vehicle market and chose competitors with proper range and nationwide sales networks. Meanwhile, the few dozen Americans who bought MX-30s learned an expensive lesson about trusting automakers who treat electric vehicles like compliance exercises rather than serious transportation solutions. Polestar 2 buyers who paid over $50,000 for a new Polestar 2 in 2022 are now watching their investment sink faster than the Titanic, with used models selling for just $30,000 to $35,000 on the secondary market. This Swedish electric performance sedan promised BMW fighting dynamics and Tesla beating technology, but delivered one of the worst depreciation rates in the entire automotive industry, alongside the infamous Mercedes EQS disaster. The financial carnage became undeniable when Polestar reported global sales dropped 15% in 2024 to just 44,851 vehicles worldwide, despite launching 2 additional models to boost demand. Even more alarming, first quarter 2024 deliveries plummeted 40% compared to the previous year, forcing the company into emergency cost-cutting measures and a complete leadership overhaul that saw founding CEO Thomas Ingenlath abandon ship in October. Industry analysts point to several factors crushing Polestar's prospects, starting with Chinese tariffs that make the company's manufacturing strategy financially impossible in key markets. Internal documents reveal the brand's pricing strategy backfired spectacularly, charging premium prices for features and build quality that buyers can get cheaper from established competitors. Dealer reports consistently show customers cross-shopping Polestars against BMW and Audi alternatives, then choosing the German brands for better reliability and service networks. The company's desperate attempts to spin declining sales as a strategic focus on margins rather than volume fooled no one watching the quarterly results. Smart buyers recognize that a brand losing nearly half its sales volume in 12 months while burning through executive leadership represents a sinking ship, not a strategic pivot. Meanwhile, early adopters who believed Polestar's promises about Swedish engineering excellence learned an expensive lesson about trusting startup brands with their hard-earned money in an increasingly competitive electric vehicle market. Volkswagen ID. Point 4. American buyers who trusted Volkswagen's electric vehicle promises and paid nearly $40,000 for an ID. Point 4 electric SUV are now stuck with vehicles that the company literally stopped building due to serious recall issues that have crashed sales by 58%. While the ID Point 4 enjoys modest success in European markets, the American launch has become a complete disaster that's costing early adopters thousands in depreciation while forcing Volkswagen to halt production entirely to address safety problems. The financial damage became clear when second quarter 2024 sales dropped another 15% to the lowest levels since the supply crisis of 2022, despite Volkswagen spending billions promoting their electric transition. Industry sources reveal the recall stoppage stems from critical safety defects that dealers cannot fix without parts that simply don't exist in American inventory, leaving customers stranded with vehicles they cannot drive safely or sell at reasonable prices. Dealer reports consistently highlight the nightmare scenario facing ID4 service departments, where technicians trained on traditional German engineering struggle with complex electric vehicle diagnostics and software updates that frequently fail or brick the infotainment systems entirely. The charging network compatibility issues make long-distance travel a gamble, since the ID4 often cannot communicate properly with non-Volkswagen charging stations, forcing owners to plan routes around infrastructure limitations rather than enjoying the freedom electric vehicles should provide. The broader Volkswagen Group electric vehicle sales declined 3.4% globally in 2024, proving this isn't just an American problem, but a fundamental failure of execution across multiple markets. Smart buyers who recognized Volkswagen's history of cutting corners and engineering shortcuts avoided the ID Point 4 entirely, while those who believed the marketing hype about German engineering excellence learned an expensive lesson about the difference between European compliance cars and vehicles actually designed for American consumer expectations and infrastructure realities. Genesis GVE 60. Luxury car buyers who spent over $60,000 on a Genesis GV60 electric SUV believed they were getting premium Korean engineering with European refinement, but instead purchased one of the most unwanted electric vehicles in the luxury segment. The financial reality hit hard when Genesis sold only 772 units in the third quarter of 2024 in America, representing a 14% decline from an already dismal previous year that forced the company to pause production entirely at its South Korean manufacturing facility. The global demand collapse became undeniable when Australian sales data revealed only 332 total units sold since the vehicle's launch, numbers so embarrassingly low that Genesis executives stopped mentioning the GV60 in quarterly earnings calls. Internal production reports show the company gambling on American luxury buyers accepting a six-figure price tag for a brand that most consumers still confuse with the Bible book, rather than recognizing as Hyundai's premium division attempting to compete with BMW and Mercedes. Dealer network limitations compound the sales disaster, since Genesis operates a fraction of the service locations compared to established German luxury brands, leaving buyers stranded when problems arise with complex electric vehicle systems that local technicians cannot diagnose or repair properly. Quality control issues plague early production models with rattling interiors, inconsistent panel gaps, and software glitches that would be unacceptable in any vehicle costing more than $30,000, let alone one marketed as a luxury alternative to proven European competitors. Smart luxury buyers recognize that Genesis brand recognition simply doesn't exist outside automotive enthusiast circles, making resale values a nightmare scenario for anyone who needs to sell their electric SUV within the first few years of ownership. Meanwhile, those who ignored the obvious warning signs about buying an expensive electric vehicle from an unproven luxury brand learned that prestigious badges and marketing promises cannot replace the dealer network, service expertise, and brand reputation that traditional luxury buyers expect for their substantial investments. BMW i7. BMW shocked traditional luxury buyers when they priced the electric i7 flagship sedan starting at $105,700, then watched sales crash 47% in the third quarter of 2024 to just 573 units nationwide as wealthy customers rejected Bavaria's electric vision of luxury transportation. Early adopters who believed BMW's promises about electric performance and prestige are now facing massive depreciation losses while discovering that traditional 7 Series buyers want nothing to do with electric powertrains or the radical design changes that come with them. The financial carnage stems from BMW's fundamental misunderstanding of their luxury customer base, as internal sales data reveals that wealthy buyers who can afford six-figure sedans typically prioritize proven reliability and conservative styling over experimental electric technology. Dealer reports consistently show customers walking away when they learn the i7's range of 321 miles trails competitors like the Lucid Air by nearly 200 miles, making long-distance luxury travel a constant source of charging anxiety rather than the effortless experience these buyers expect from their expensive automobiles. The software complexity overwhelms traditional BMW clientele who simply want their luxury sedan to start reliably and drive smoothly without navigating through multiple touchscreen menus to adjust basic climate controls or seat positions. Industry analysts point to the radical design language that abandons BMW's conservative luxury aesthetic in favor of futuristic styling that alienates the brand's core demographic of successful professionals and executives who prefer understated elegance over attention-grabbing electric vehicle statements. Smart luxury buyers recognize that BMW rushed the i7 to market without understanding what their customers actually wanted, choosing to wait for proven alternatives or sticking with traditional gas-powered 7 Series models that offer superior range and familiar operation. Meanwhile, early adopters learned an expensive lesson about trusting automotive manufacturers who prioritize environmental virtue, signaling over delivering the refined luxury experience that justifies spending over $100,000 on a flagship sedan. Mercedes EQS/EQE, Mercedes-Benz luxury buyers who invested over $100,000 in the flagship EQS electric sedan watched their purchases become automotive laughingstocks as sales plummeted 52% to just 6,963 units annually, forcing the German automaker to pause entire EQ lineup production for the American market. The financial disaster spread to the smaller EQE sedan, which saw sales crash 47% in the second quarter of 2024 despite desperate price cuts of up to $15,300 that failed to convince buyers to overlook the widely ridiculed design. Industry critics and customers consistently describe these electric Mercedes models as blobby, egg-shaped, and resembling melting bars of soap, with automotive journalists comparing their aerodynamic styling to household cleaning products rather than prestigious luxury automobiles. Internal dealer reports reveal traditional Mercedes buyers fleeing to BMW and Audi alternatives, rather than accepting vehicles that sacrifice the brand's elegant design heritage for marginal improvements in electric range and efficiency that most luxury customers simply don't prioritize over appearance and prestige. The production halt announced in September 2025 represents a stunning admission of failure from a company that invested billions developing these ground-up electric platforms. With dealer lots nationwide still stuffed with unsold 2023 model year inventory that cannot move even with massive manufacturer incentives, Mercedes executives tried spinning the aerodynamic blob styling as cutting-edge efficiency engineering. But sales data proves that luxury buyers want their expensive vehicles to look like prestigious automobiles rather than science experiments designed in wind tunnels by engineers who apparently never considered customer preferences. Smart luxury buyers recognize that Mercedes prioritized environmental virtue, signaling over the elegant design language that built the brand's reputation for sophisticated style and understated luxury. Choosing to wait for more traditional-looking alternatives or purchasing proven competitors that don't embarrass owners in country club parking lots. Lucid Air Lucid Motors managed to create the world's longest-range electric sedan with over 500 miles between charges. But buyers who invested nearly $90,000 for entry-level Air models discovered that impressive technology means nothing when only 10,241 vehicles found homes globally in 2024. The financial reality hits early adopters particularly hard since predicted resale values sit near the bottom of the luxury electric vehicle pack, making these range champion sedans some of the worst investments in the entire automotive market, despite their undeniable technical achievements. The sales disaster stems from Lucid's fundamental disconnect with luxury car buyers, as the company originally targeted 90,000 vehicles annually, but scaled back expectations to just 9,000 due to non-existent brand awareness outside automotive enthusiast circles who appreciate advanced battery technology but represent a tiny fraction of luxury sedan customers. Internal manufacturing reports reveal production capacity that exceeds actual demand by massive margins, forcing the company to slash prices repeatedly while burning through Saudi Arabian investment money that makes some American buyers uncomfortable about supporting foreign ownership of advanced electric vehicle technology. Service network limitations compound the ownership nightmare, since Lucid operates facilities only in major metropolitan areas, leaving buyers in smaller markets stranded when problems arise with complex electric powertrains that local mechanics cannot diagnose or repair properly. Industry analysts point out that wealthy customers who can afford $90,000 sedans typically prioritize convenience and reliability over bragging rights about battery range, especially when established competitors like BMW and Mercedes offer comprehensive dealer networks and proven service capabilities that startup brands simply cannot match. Smart luxury buyers recognize that Lucid's impressive engineering achievements cannot overcome the basic business realities of buying expensive vehicles from companies with uncertain futures and limited support infrastructure, choosing instead to wait for proven alternatives or purchase established brands that offer better long-term ownership security for their substantial investments. Audi e-tron GT. Audi's stunning e-tron GT electric sedan commands $106,500 for its base model, but buyers who fell for the gorgeous styling discovered they overpaid for a vehicle that shares its platform with the Porsche Taycan, while delivering embarrassingly short range of just 249 miles and sales numbers that prove most luxury customers see through this expensive marketing exercise. Through September 2024, Audi managed to sell only 2,066 e-tron GT models nationwide, trailing virtually every competitor and demonstrating that beautiful design cannot overcome fundamental value problems. The financial disaster becomes obvious when comparing the e-tron GT's pathetic range against competitors like the Tesla Model S, which offers over 400 miles of driving distance for significantly less money while providing access to the world's most reliable charging network. Dealer reports consistently show customers walking away after learning that Audi's electric flagship requires charging stops every few hours during long trips, making it unsuitable for the luxury touring that wealthy buyers expect from six-figure automobiles that should enhance rather than complicate their driving experience. Service costs rival traditional exotic cars due to complex electric powertrains that require specialized diagnostic equipment and technician training that most Audi dealers lack, forcing owners to travel hundreds of miles for routine maintenance while paying premium labor rates that make Tesla service appointments look affordable by comparison. Early production quality issues affecting paint finish and interior trim quality compound the ownership nightmare as buyers discover that Audi's traditional build excellence doesn't automatically translate to their electric vehicle manufacturing processes. Smart luxury buyers recognize that Audi's confusing electric strategy prioritizes platform sharing with Porsche over delivering genuine value to customers, choosing Tesla Model S alternatives that offer superior range, better charging infrastructure, and lower total ownership costs. Meanwhile, those who trusted Audi's reputation without examining the actual product specifications learned an expensive lesson about paying premium prices for compromised electric vehicles. Porsche Taycan. Porsche enthusiasts who spent $91,000 on the electric Taycan sedan believed they were buying the future of high-performance driving, but instead purchased vehicles that lost 34.6% of their sales momentum in the third quarter of 2024 as deliveries crashed to just 1,340 units nationwide. The global collapse proved even more devastating, with annual deliveries plummeting from 41,000 vehicles to an estimated 19,000 worldwide, demonstrating that even Porsche's legendary performance reputation cannot overcome the fundamental problems plaguing electric sports cars. The financial reality hits hardest when examining the Taycan's pathetic range of 246 miles, which makes long-distance touring virtually impossible for sports car buyers who expect to drive cross-country without planning their routes around charging infrastructure that remains inadequate for spontaneous weekend getaways. Internal dealer reports reveal traditional Porsche customers consistently choosing gas-powered 911 and Panamera alternatives, rather than accepting the charging limitations and complexity that come with electric powertrains, even when those systems deliver impressive acceleration numbers that look good on paper but fail to enhance the actual driving experience. Depreciation rates are destroying early adopter investments as used Taycan models flood the market, while new competition from BMW and Mercedes electric sports sedans offers similar performance with better range and lower entry prices, forcing Porsche dealers to discount heavily just to move inventory that sits for months on showroom floors. The charging infrastructure remains a nightmare for sports car touring, since high-performance driving drains batteries much faster than conservative commuting, leaving owners stranded at charging stations for hours instead of enjoying the open-road adventures that justify spending nearly six figures on a performance automobile. Smart Porsche buyers recognize that electric powertrains fundamentally compromise the sports car experience by adding weight, complexity, and range anxiety, while eliminating the emotional connection that comes from precision-engineered internal combustion engines, choosing to wait for proven alternatives, or purchase traditional models that deliver authentic driving pleasure. Cadillac Lyriq General Motors invested billions developing the Cadillac Lyriq luxury electric SUV with competitive pricing starting at $117,000. But buyers who trusted America's electric vehicle revival discovered they purchased vehicles that cannot compete against established German luxury brands, despite positive automotive reviews that failed to translate into actual sales success. The financial disadvantage becomes obvious immediately, since the Lyriq doesn't qualify for federal tax credits that save buyers up to $7,500, making it significantly more expensive than than comparable competitors when calculating total ownership costs over the loan period. The reliability nightmare stems from GM's untested Ultium electric platform, which dealer reports show suffering from software glitches, charging system failures, and battery management problems that leave owners stranded with vehicles that cannot start or charge properly, despite being nearly new luxury automobiles that should deliver flawless operation. Internal service bulletins reveal widespread issues with the infotainment system freezing, climate controls malfunctioning, and charging ports failing to recognize standard equipment, forcing customers to visit dealers repeatedly for problems that should never occur in vehicles costing over six figures. The massive weight of 2,774 kilograms dulls any performance claims GM makes about the Lyric's electric motors, since moving that much mass requires constant energy consumption that reduces real-world range while making the SUV feel sluggish compared to lighter competitors from BMW and Mercedes that deliver superior driving dynamics. Cadillac's dealer network remains completely unprepared for complex electric vehicle service, with technicians trained on traditional American luxury cars struggling to diagnose problems with advanced electric powertrains that require specialized equipment and expertise that most dealerships simply don't possess. Smart luxury buyers recognize that Cadillac's brand perception problems run deeper than just product quality, since wealthy customers associate the nameplate with aging American executives rather than cutting-edge technology, choosing proven German alternatives that offer better resale values, superior service networks, and the prestige that justifies spending over $100,000 on luxury transportation. Volvo XC40 Recharge. Volvo's reputation for safety excellence convinced buyers to spend premium prices on the XC40 Recharge electric SUV, but those same customers watched their investments evaporate as sales crashed 43.7% in the third quarter of 2024 to just 1,005 units nationwide, proving that traditional brand strengths cannot overcome fundamental electric vehicle execution failures. The financial disaster becomes obvious when comparing sales figures to gasoline-powered XC40 models that consistently outsell their electric variants by massive margins, demonstrating that even loyal Volvo customers reject the company's confusing electric vehicle strategy. The pricing strategy backfired spectacularly, since Volvo charges luxury premiums for what most buyers perceive as a mainstream brand that lacks the prestige of German competitors, especially when the XC40 Recharge delivers limited range that forces owners to plan every trip around charging stops rather than enjoying the spontaneous travel that crossover SUV buyers expect from their vehicles. Dealer reports consistently show customers cross-shopping the electric XC40 against Tesla Model Y alternatives that offer superior range, better charging infrastructure, and lower total ownership costs, despite lacking Volvo's traditional safety reputation. Service network challenges compound the ownership nightmare, as Volvo's limited dealer network struggles with electric vehicle diagnostics and repairs that require specialized training and equipment that most locations simply don't possess, forcing customers to travel hundreds of miles for routine maintenance on vehicles that should receive support from any authorized service center. The Chinese ownership of Volvo through Geely raises additional concerns among American buyers who prefer supporting companies with clear domestic or European heritage rather than brands controlled by foreign governments that may prioritize different markets over American customer satisfaction. Smart buyers recognize that Volvo's electric vehicle transition represents a half-hearted compliance exercise rather than a genuine commitment to electric excellence, choosing proven alternatives from Tesla or established German luxury brands that offer better performance, superior service networks, and clearer long-term strategies for electric vehicle development and support. Hyundai Ioniq 6. Hyundai engineered the Ioniq 6 electric sedan to achieve maximum aerodynamic efficiency, but buyers who invested over $45,000 discovered that whale-like styling polarizes mainstream customers so dramatically that sales crashed 56.9% in the third quarter of 2024 to to just 2,185 units nationwide. The financial disaster reflects deeper market realities, as American buyers overwhelmingly prefer SUV body styles over sedans regardless of efficiency advantages, forcing Hyundai to compete in a shrinking segment, while their own Ioniq 5 electric SUV cannibalizes sedan sales by offering similar technology in a more popular package. The pricing strategy eliminated any value proposition advantages when Hyundai increased Ioniq 6 prices significantly above the original launch figures, making the swoopy sedan more expensive than competitors that offer better brand recognition and superior dealer service networks. Internal sales data reveals the Ioniq 6 suffers from the fundamental problem of being a sedan in an SUV-dominated market, where even environmentally conscious buyers prefer higher seating positions and cargo flexibility over marginal efficiency improvements that matter more to engineers than actual customers paying their own money. Dealer reports consistently highlight the nightmare scenario of salespeople who cannot adequately explain the Ioniq 6's complex charging capabilities or help customers understand the differences between various trim levels and charging speeds, leading to frustrated buyers who leave dealerships more confused than when they arrived. The charging network inconsistencies frustrate owners who discover that Hyundai's promised charging speeds often fail to materialize at real-world charging stations, forcing them to plan trips around infrastructure limitations rather than enjoying the seamless electric experience that luxury competitors deliver through better partnerships and testing. Smart buyers recognized that Hyundai's focus on aerodynamic excellence over aesthetic appeal created a vehicle that impresses automotive journalists but alienates mainstream customers, choosing the more practical Ioniq 5 SUV, or waiting for competitors that balance efficiency with designs that won't embarrass owners in suburban driveways. Nissan promised electric vehicle excellence with the Ariya crossover starting at $41,160, but buyers who waited through 7 years of development delays discovered they overpaid for a vehicle that arrived too late to compete effectively against superior alternatives from Hyundai and Kia that offer better technology, longer warranties, and more competitive pricing. The financial damage became obvious when early buyers faced immediate safety recalls affecting steering wheel attachment, destroying confidence in Nissan's quality control, and forcing owners to question whether they purchased vehicles from a manufacturer that prioritizes rushed launches over basic safety requirements. The charging performance inconsistencies frustrate owners who discover that advertised charging speeds rarely materialize at real-world charging stations, leaving them stranded for hours longer than expected, while competitors deliver reliable, fast charging experiences that make electric vehicle ownership practical rather than stressful. Internal dealer reports reveal widespread confusion among sales staff who cannot adequately explain the Ariya's complex charging capabilities or help customers understand range limitations that become apparent only after purchase, when buyers realize their expensive electric crossover cannot reliably handle long-distance travel without extensive planning around infrastructure limitations. Nissan's electric vehicle reputation suffered permanent damage from the original Leaf's rapid battery degradation issues that left thousands of early adopters with vehicles that lost significant range within just a few years, creating skepticism that follows the brand into every new electric vehicle launch, regardless of actual improvements. The dealer network remains completely unprepared for modern electric vehicle service requirements, with technicians trained on traditional Nissan models struggling to diagnose complex battery management and software problems that require specialized equipment most locations don't possess. Smart buyers recognized that Nissan's 7-year development timeline allowed Korean competitors to leapfrog their technology while delivering superior products at lower prices with better dealer support, choosing Hyundai Ioniq 5 or Kia EV6 alternatives that offer cutting-edge features without the reliability concerns that plague Nissan's rushed electric vehicle attempts.